Have you ever noticed how modern adulthood can feel like a barren wasteland of bullshit? Seriously, it never seems to end. In this video, we are going to be talking all about healing. We are going to be talking about healing your inner child through joy, through play, through creativity. As you know, these are all feral self-care approved approaches for life, for healing, and for personal growth. So if you are feeling weighed down by stress, if you are feeling like you are longing for that childlike wonder, that carefree spark, if that is something that you are looking to call into your life right now, stay tuned, because in this video, I'm gonna go over 3 simple ways to bring inner child healing into your life in order to feel more playful, feel more joy, and feel more equipped emotionally, energetically to handle the shit that life throws at you. So to begin, what is inner child healing? So inner child healing is basically connecting with that version of ourselves, that younger version, maybe a version that was like stuffed down, repressed, put aside when we entered this crazy world of modern adulthood, and nurturing it, trying to kind of heal in reverse by tackling some of the unique challenges that this version of yourself has gone through in the past, in an effort to bring more levity, more play, more creativity, and more healing ultimately for you in your life, in your future. So let's dive into 3 simple ways that you can begin working with that inner child to bring more healing, more levity, and play into your life. First, we are going to talk about play. So play is something that is not just for kids, despite our entire cultural climate kind of making it seem like it is something that is frivolous or something that, you know, will always be on like the end of your list of to-dos. Play is actually foundational, and not just for children either. In our culture, in our society, we tend to view play as something that is definitely selfish or frivolous for adults, but we do recognize that this is something that is foundational for children. Now, in the case of play in particular, this is something that can have actually very real physiological and psychological effects on us. So it can lower our stress, it can lower hormones such as cortisol, it can be something that can bring more resilience into our life, can help us think more creatively. So play is really kind of like a cheat code in order to live life that feels a little more expansive, a little more fun, and a little more exciting. Now, one way you can bring more play into your life is to try and orient towards the things that bring you joy. If you look down in the description below, I have a link to a free feral self-care starter kit, and one of the things in this starter kit is a 5 minutes of joy jar. I would highly recommend that you take the time right now to go down and download this freebie, get access to this freebie, because one of the practices in there, so this practice of a 5 minutes of joy jar, is one very quick, actionable way that you can tackle this question of bringing more play into your life right now. Seriously, go do it. We all have an experience of knowing there are things that are fun for us, that are very playful for us, and usually we kind of hold them at arm's length, or we view them as things that we just don't have the time for, don't have the energy for in all the rest of everything that is going on in our life. So in order to make this even more actionable for you, I want you to drop in the comments below what were the things you did as a child that lit you up, that made you feel full of life. What were the ways that you played that were deeply restorative for you? So much so that you might even think back to it right now, close your eyes, take a deep breath, and like transport yourself back there, feeling that fresh energy, feeling that like positive emotion. What was that? Drop it below. Next thing is to engage in creativity. Now, first of all, this requires us to step back from our very limited definitions of what creativity is. So a lot of people out there tend to mix up this idea of being an artist with being creative. Now, it's really important to note that everything that we see in the human world was at one point a figment of somebody's imagination made manifest into reality. The camera I'm speaking into right now, these flower arrangements in these baskets, the idea of having a balcony, crystal bracelets, like the way you dress, the way you express yourself. Creativity is everywhere. It is such a fundamental part of being human, and this is separate from being an artist. So the question that I love to pose for people when they're struggling with this idea of like being an artist or identifying as an artist or like judging their creations, as opposed to just recognizing their innate humanity as being a creative endeavor, is the last time you had anxiety, the last time you were spiraling, right? Sorry to bring it up again, but like what sort of things was your brain imagining? That's usually when we see our creativity in action. When we hear a weird sound in the middle of the night and all of a sudden our minds go wild, that's a creative force. If we're stressing out about all the things that could go wrong, or alternatively that could go right, that is a creative force. So it's important to bring more creativity in your life if you are wanting to feel more creative. So an actionable way that you could do this right now is to set yourself a timer and just allow yourself to engage in creative play, whether or not there's an intention to it. So I personally love to use creative play for doing deep inner work, for doing shadow work, for connecting to the subconscious mind, that sort of thing. And that's the sort of thing that we do in the Feral Self-Care Collective. There's more information about that below. Our next season starts in July, you guys. It's gonna be fucking amazing. But here is an example of the results of a session that I had done for the collective this season. So this is a collage. Now this was an energy, so mine was freedom, and it was after an active imagination session and meditation session we had to connect to our wildest, most untamed self. We then took those lessons, those symbols, all of that, and made an intuitive sort of card. So as you can see, this is like a card of a character in order to activate ourselves to feel connected to our wild. So that's one way you can use creativity as a way to do deep inner work. But another thing you can do is just set a timer and allow yourself to create. You can finger paint, you can use crayons, you can use pencils, you can like, I don't know, you could take like leaves and sticks and piles of stuff and make a nature mandala or something like that. Literally just let yourself create for the sake of creating. A lot of why we don't feel connected to our creativity is because we judge it, right? So we think there has to be some highly aesthetic result at the end, or that we have to be following some certain set of rules. And the truth is, creating just for the sake of creating, just for the actual process of creating, is something that is so fun, so healing, and absolutely excellent and wonderful for inner child work. Now, the next thing is to go a little bit deeper, get a little bit more vulnerable, and actually try to create a safe space for your inner child. This means it takes a little bit of reparenting, and it does take a little bit of reflection on what are the unique wounds that your inner child may carry. What are the unique set of beliefs or limitations or like wounds that this part of you may hold. So I'm going to use myself as an example. So I grew up hearing that I was like too loud all the time, that I was always looking for attention, and like that was a bad thing. So creative self-expression or free self-expression for me was something that was really off limits for a long time. Now, the way that I live my life now, very much feral self-care informed, is that I have been able to give myself the permission that I wish that I had had when I was a child. So every time I do an art ritual, every time I allow myself to like kick off my shoes and run in a field of like dandelions, every time I let myself sing and be loud and go play on swings and like act in a way that is very much kind of countering what we feel like modern adulthood should look like, I am healing my inner child, because I am telling my inner child that what this version of me heard when I was young, when I was powerless, when I felt helpless, wasn't necessarily the truth. It was just the information I was given at the time. So as part of my deprogramming process and as part of my like inner child healing practice is to allow myself to indulge those impulses that I have. So I want to ask you, is there something that your inner child really is desperate to hear, that really would love to have heard by somebody, a caregiver, somebody, a protector when you were younger? Is there a message that your inner child really could have used? And can you give that to yourself? If you feel that there is, feel free to share it in the comments. But if it is personal, I get that as well. Inner child work can be very vulnerable, but I also think it's one of the easiest ways that we can orient towards play, creativity, and joy in our lives. And I think that this work that we do with inner child stuff really can translate very well to the rest of our healing efforts once you kind of tap in and realize how motivating, how freeing, and how fun it can be. Now, if inner child work seems very off limits for you, if you're like right in the beginning of your journey and you're just like not sure kind of how to approach it, I would urge you to actually create sacred space for this. Set up a space for this so you can have mood lighting, maybe some LED candles, maybe some fun music, maybe some cool textures, some colors. Maybe you dress up, right? I like to wear tutus. I like to put mushrooms in my hair. I like to wear clearly 500 bracelets and jingle around like a house cat, right? Whatever helps you feel safe and helps you get in that vibe of feeling nurtured, feeling safe so that you can do this work is truly a gift that you can give yourself, and it is the most powerful if received from yourself. When we have inner child wounds, which I have had plenty, so it's a very normal part of the human experience, when we have this, it can feel like we need someone external to us, like our parents, our caregivers, someone on the outside to come and give us permission, to come and give us validation, and to come and soothe us. But the reality is that we actually really need this the most from ourselves. We are always going to be our own internal gatekeeper. So it's actually a gift to yourself to allow yourself the space to have fun, to play, to heal, grow, and evolve. So there you go. There are 3 simple, actionable ways for you to begin your inner child healing journey. So make sure to hit that like button. Make sure to follow this channel for more super fun feral self-care practices that are actionable, creative, fun, and motivating. And remember, you always have everything you need within you.